Admiral Sir Tony Radakin visiting Washington, D.C. and saying the U.S. should see through the conflict in Ukraine. To talk about this and some other important world issues, pleased to bring in our very next guest, the British ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Karen Pierce. A pleasure, Ambassador. Welcome into Newsline.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Really pleased to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. Obviously, those comments very much ring true about staying strong. We know Russia has threatened the UK military, even ordered nuclear drills. Recent days, a statement through the British Foreign Secretary David Cameron about using British-supplied weapons against Russia. As an expert on Russia, is this just more saber rattling from Putin again? How do you feel the situation can be controlled, Ambassador?
I think part of the Putin playbook, Bianca, is to unsettle allies in NATO, unsettle Europe, and where he can, try and drive a wedge between Europe and America. And he uses this saber rattling, as you call it. He uses the nuclear weapons threat to try and unsettle people so that they put pressure on their governments in Europe. But we've already seen that it doesn't work. NATO members have been really strong in pushing back. Countries are still giving Ukraine weapons. We have just given Ukraine another $4 billion in support. As you know, Congress passed the supplemental package on equipment for Ukraine. So allies led by the US are still going ahead with their support for Ukraine. So Putin's efforts aren't working.
Clearly, Russia does see, apparently, according to a new report, a delay in the weapons that will get there, and they're going to try to capitalize on it. But if we could say in the comments of weapons, I know David Cameron has come out to some weapons to Israel. You've had the pleasure of working with both President Trump and Joe Biden. So tell us, as an ambassador, what it is like for you to kind of be in these positions of two different administrations in a world that has seen, sadly, so much conflict erupting today.
I think it's true that in recent years, we've seen a resurgence of geostrategic conflict, i.e. state-on-state conflict, rather than conflicts within a particular state. And that's particularly worrying. And anyone who thinks Putin will be satisfied with only a small bit of Ukraine is, I'm afraid, deluding themselves. So Putin is very much a risk to transatlantic security as well as to Ukraine security. And I think both President Trump and President Biden understand that. I think their support for Israel is, as the White House said, ironclad. Ours is the same in Britain. We do have some concerns, quite a few concerns about civilians in Gaza, and we've made those clear to Prime Minister Netanyahu, and we will go on doing that. But we absolutely support Israel's right to defend itself, which is allowed under the UN Charter and international law. So I think, to get to your wider question, Bianca, there are lots of things that happen in foreign affairs that affect different administrations. But the important thing is that the UK, Britain, and the US stand shoulder to shoulder in meeting these challenges. We have most of our lives seen American leadership in the world on the whole. That has kept the world safe and prosperous since the end of the Second World War. We see our job in Britain as to be America's global ally, to stand with America, and to help problem solve and burden share. And I think we're going to go on doing just that.
I know in recent weeks we've seen David Cameron here stateside, Liz Truss also throwing her endorsement behind Donald Trump. So never a dull moment lately, and with our UK and US relationships. But a pleasure to have you to describe some of the issues we may see ahead with Putin as well. Ambassador Karen Pierce, I appreciate your time
Bianca,
and your thoughtful comments.
I'm sorry, can I say one thing?
Absolutely.
The British government doesn't endorse one particular administration over another. Liz Truss is a private individual.
Yes.
I just want to make that clear for you, audience. Sorry.
No, it just was a flurry of headlines when she did speak out on it. And not that you are speaking out on it, but the fact that she was so clear in where she was standing was pretty interesting, at least to us here stateside. Thank you so much, Ambassador Pierce. A pleasure to have you.